Convention has made a decision. Our government will consist of three branches: the legislative, executive, and judicial. They have decided that together and equally, these three independent branches will help run our government and nation. They have also decided to run our government with popular sovereignty, which means the people are the only source of government power. The government can't and will not exist without the people's consent. The legislative branch will be a bicameral Congress, which will consist of the Senate and the House of Representatives. Together they will make up our new government Congress. The Senate and the House of Representatives have equally divided powers, and not one is higher or better than the other. But they do have different specific roles to help contribute to our nation's government. The legislative branch will be able to ratify treaties, confirm executive appointments, impeach federal officers and judges, and create or dissolve lower federal courts. They will also be in charge of appropriating money, regulating immigration, and they will even have the power to declare war. The House of Representatives will be given the power and responsibility to create laws, and all the bills will have to pass in the House before they can be given to the President. They will also have the sole power to impeach the President. The leader of the House will be called the Speaker of the House. The House of Representatives is said to be also known as the lower house. The Senate will be led by the Vice President and will be referred to as the upper house, or the Millionaires Club. They will have the power to impeach the President if they can get majority vote, which is 2/3 of the vote. If anyone wants to raise money, they will have to get approval from the Senate, and all laws must pass in the Senate before going to the President. Congress will oversee elections and set rules in the legislative branch, and when you start getting taxed or the government borrows money from you, this will be the Congress' actions or responsibility. When the foreigners want to become a citizen of our new nation, Congress will be setting the rules and regulations for them to come in. Our Congress will also have the right to do anything necessary and proper as long as it's abiding by the Constitution. This will be known as the Elastic Clause. The legislative branch cannot just come and do anything. We the people have rights that they cannot take away, such as Congress cannot take away our right to habeas corpus or tax interstate commerce. They can also not take money from the U.S. Treasury. The executive branch will be given many powers and responsibilities to help govern our newfound nation. It will be particularly in charge of enforcing our laws, and will be led by a very influential figure for our nation and government. He will be called the President of the United States. The President will have many powers, such as he will be the Commander-in-Chief of our nation's Army and Navy, and he will be able to grant pardons and veto laws and appoint Supreme Court justices and ambassadors. But he can only appoint such people with the Senate's approval. This is an example of checks and balances, which allows each branch to check one other's action to prevent abuse of power and check to make sure everything they do is constitutional. In order for a president to be eligible to be elected, he must meet these requirements. He must be at least 35 years old, must be a natural-born U.S. citizen, and must have lived in the U.S. for at least 14 years. The executive branch, including the president, cannot do just anything. They have limited powers, and we have certain freedoms and rights that we are guaranteed to be allowed to have or do. The judicial is the third and final branch of government. It, like the other two branches, has many powers and responsibilities. For example, they are responsible for interpreting the law in regards to the Constitution and hear court appeals for state and federal cases. The Supreme Court justices are appointed by the President and approved by the Senate. This is another example of the branches using checks and balances. So the Supreme Court and the other federal court jobs are to preserve and protect the rights to the people guaranteed by the Constitution. They can also declare that certain laws or acts done by a citizen are unconstitutional. The judicial branch also is restricted with its powers. They cannot take away your right to trial or any of the rights given to you in the First Amendment. With this new form of government will come many advantages, but also many disadvantages to our government and nation. We the people can take advantages, like we will no longer have to worry about any one person having all the power and not equally dividing it, because our government is based on popular sovereignty, limited government, and we have separation of powers between our three branches. Some disadvantages may be that the branches may not always agree on whether or not something is unconstitutional or legal, which may put them in a situation where they can't decide what is the best for the people. Our founding fathers have worked so hard and were very patient and persistent with trying to make the Constitution work for everyone and last for years and years to come.